right, ladies and gents.
Welcome back.
It's Friday.
You know what that means.
Time for the best sports podcast around. Time to kick back, talk sports, and make it bag while we're at it.
Absolutely do what we love to do best and kick off the weekend in a fun way.
Absolutely. I'm hyped. Got a big slate, as always, for this Friday. Big MLB slate. A little bit less of an NBA slate with playoffs underway, but we make things work.
Absolutely. We make do with what we got.
Absolutely.
You get what you get and you don't throw a fit around here.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about just some of the things going on this season. Just a little bit of MLB talk before we move on. Kind of discuss some surprises and maybe some things that, not so surprising going on. One of those being Tyler Soderstrom. He's technically tied for second right now in the league in home runs with a lot of guys at 9. A few guys ahead of him at 10. Guys like Eugenio Suarez sitting at the top of the charts now, tied with Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh. So Mike Trout sitting tied for second with 9. I mean, it's kind of cool to see some of these guys that have been playing well this year, and it's been a pretty good start to the season for home runs so far.
Yeah, I like to mention catchers coming into their own this season.
Right.
Kind of, in NFL terms, having their running back group chat saying that they're not going to fall off in the MLB position terms of things. So to see a few catchers up in the top 5, top 10 of home runs already is pretty exciting.
No, 100%. I want to give a shout out to some of these guys up here that we probably didn't, 100% expect sitting at the top of the charts for the home runs. Keep in mind, we are very early in the season, but great starts for some of these guys, like we mentioned again, Tyler Soderstrom, Jorge Polanco sitting towards the top, Logan O'Hoppe playing well, putting on for the catcher position. Spencer Torkelson, James Wood, another young guy I wanted to mention for the Nationals, playing very well for them so far this season. Kyle Manzardo, Wilmer Flores, Carson Kelly, just some crazy names sitting up here you wouldn't technically expect before the season got underway.
100%. I mean, again, I know we're early, but these kind of things can hold weight.
Right. Oh, 100%. I mean, there's some Rookie of the Year races and stuff going on, and still there's a lot that could be had with these home run leaders still. So.
Exactly. I know your boy Jackson Holidays sent a few yards.
100%. Dylan Cruz finally came into form a little bit. He had a big home run game a couple weeks ago. Been talking a lot about him. It's cool to finally see him.
Something me and you just mentioned the other day. Paul Skeens kind of cooling off this season.
Man.
That's a subject that's got to be brought up.
It's painful. I didn't really want to bring it up. I was a big Paul Skeens guy. I still am. Don't get me wrong. He's only played 6 games so far this season. Just a very slow start. I don't necessarily know what's going on. I don't know if it's some nerves, if it's the difference of being the ace on the team now that he wasn't last year. The pressure's on. He's got to play well. And he set very high standards for himself last year. I mean, he played so well as a rookie coming into the sophomore year. Yeah. We expected to blow up like no other. And I mean, you can't halt it. You can't halt him if he does take a step back. He's still very young. He's still got a lot to learn. A lot of guys he's playing he's never seen before. It's his first time seeing a lot of guys he's matching up with this year. I'm hoping for the best for him, man. He's still technically the favorite for the Cy Young. Like I said, very early in the season, but just very low rate of strikeouts so far for him this year.
Yeah, kind of crazy. I mean, definitely somebody that you would like to think isn't figured out per se by the other teams just yet.
Right.
And only 2 strikeouts against the Cubs last game, in a game that they allowed 8 runs.
He got pulled in the 5th inning, I think.
5 hits against the Dodgers with 9 strikeouts. He had a good game there.
Right.
Only 4 against Cleveland in a game they lost.
What's his ERA sitting at this year?
Still holding a 2.7.
So that's still very, very good.
Yeah,
that's
25th. But he's 3-3, 15th in K's at 41. So, I mean, he's holding steady. He's obviously... I feel like there's a lot more players starting off hotter than we expected again. Early in the season, so, I mean, we can't state that enough that these aren't things we're putting a lot of weight on just yet. But, I mean, Hunter Green has been extremely above expectations. So, a lot more competition, I guess you could say, for a Paul Skeens ace when we look at it that way than we did last season as a rookie. Obviously, it's going to look phenomenal.
Right. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the hype he got coming into this year, just skyrocketing to the top of the lineup so fast for his team. Guys on the other side of him are like, man, we want to cool this guy down. We got something to prove. He's one of the best pitchers in the league. We got to get hits off this guy. And he's just, like I said, set very high expectations for himself. But I expect, to be okay. He'll be fine. He'll figure things out. He's still very, very young. He's underway of his first official season, of a full season. So nothing to worry about just yet.
Yeah, 100%. I think he'll settle into his own. I mean, you can't understate the fact that, we said this last season. You said it to begin with. He doesn't have the bats behind him for, obviously, that win-loss record to hold much weight, or for him to be able to do much on offense when he's throwing the ball. So, he can't control everything out of his control, but, like you mentioned last season, again, the odds change in their favor completely the minute he's on the mound. So,
100%.
Completely different team.
He's still regarded as, a top 5 pitcher in the league right now after that great rookie start. So, he's going to be fine, man. I can't preach enough. He'll be okay. He's 22, 23 years old. He's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, 100%.
But okay. Enough rambling on MLB for the moment. It's kind of cool to catch up on a few things there, kind of talk about a couple of topics. Don't want to get into nothing too crazy.
Talk about Hunter Green being the best pitcher in MLB.
Hey, all I'm saying is he is like the top strikeout right-handed pitcher in the league right now. He's like third in the race for Cy Young right now. So Hunter Green playing like one of the best pitchers in the league.
2.7 ERA, like 2 more Ks in both seasons or anything.
Wow. The stats don't really do much. Maybe he is playing well. I guess we just talking crazy. I think I'm talking crazy. He just be killing my parlays, bro.
The minute we tried
2 strikeout game really killed my mood.
Paul Skeens on the mound. Team he's matching up against kind of weak. The Cubs. I can't say the Cubs are weak. They've been really hot this season.
That's another topic. Yeah,
but
really good.
Outside of the Cubs team, I'm looking at the line. Okay, this team he's matching up against kind of weak. Got a good line here. And he got like 6 or 7 Ks in him. 4.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Paul.
Right. We can't expect him to have the best game of his life every game.
Yeah.
But, that's kind of
financially.
Yeah.
Financially, I could really use him or need him to have his best game.
Yeah. So it hurts a little more than just
if I could
being a fan.
Have everybody I throw a prop on just be a generational talent that night, it'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, it'd be rich. It'd be fantastic. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, 100%. But don't count him out just yet, man. Pirates with him at the mound are always going to have a chance.
Absolutely. Livy Dunn on his side. He's got a lot to.
Yeah, shout out Steve. All right, we can move on to the NBA.
Shall we?
Where we're kind of in the thick of things, and we got a few things to talk about. We can, I think we build a parlay for you guys here in just a little bit for that Rockets-Warriors game. Obviously, that doesn't tip off till 9 o'clock, being the only game of the night. So I think we can get into some discussion, some reactions real quick before we
talk into some prior playoff events that have occurred.
Yeah, so we're almost completely done with the first round. We got 2 series left. The Clippers saved their series last night, forcing it to Game 7. Game 7 against the Nuggets. Let me pull up the bracket here just so I can kind of stay organized. Okay, so I guess we
stay organized? Never.
I think we can just kind of go down the line here. We'll start on the East because the East is completely set for the second round. First series, Cavs Heat. Easy sweep for the Cavs. They blew them out almost every game.
We talked about it. Both teams look good. Cavs a different beast this season. Heat coming into their own form after moving on from Jimmy Butler. Tyler Hero's still not setting into that number 1 spot, but Cavs are a different animal, and they have higher things to go move on to than Miami Heat for sure.
Yeah. We kind of expected this after the first 30 games of the season when they were almost perfect through 19, the first 19, I believe.
Yeah.
They had a fantastic start. They had a fantastic finish.
They're like 40 and 11 or 50 and 11 at home. It's something crazy.
They just figured
we
it
can
out.
check the exact record here later, but at home they're a different animal.
Yeah. They almost have all-stars at every starting position. Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, and Allen could all be all-stars. 3 of them already have it.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it when the trade was made, but something that hasn't been mentioned by higher media enough is the acquisition of Karis LeVert.
No, DeAndre Hunter.
DeAndre Hunter. Sorry,
I knew it.
The Pacers fan in me. Yeah, still.
I knew it.
I was thinking about that the other day in that upcoming matchup, our little reunion we shall have.
Oh yeah, that is true. I didn't even think about that.
But the acquisition of DeAndre Hunter has been huge. I mean, the two-way 3-and-D player they've literally needed.
It's exactly what they needed. Yeah, I mean he fits what they got going on to a T. I mean it's just 100% perfection.
Yeah, the extra piece of defense to come slide in for the more offensive players than Mitchell and Garland, and still be able to hoop
when needed
on offense. Yeah,
he'll still knock down the shots for you.
Exactly.
Open. So yeah, just a very deep team, a very scary team. Obviously swept the Heat. They got something to prove. So moving on to round 2, playing against the Indiana Pacers, who 4-1 the Bucks without Damian Lillard essentially the entire series.
Yeah, came in for one game, went out same game.
Yeah, with a torn Achilles. So prayers up for Dame. I don't know if we'll see him back.
Out all of next season.
Yeah, I mean he's 36 years old at this point. If he does come back,
if he does decide
not going to be the same. I mean, I don't know if we'll see.
An Achilles injury is one of the hardest things to at a high professional level to return from and be yourself.
It took Durant almost 2 years to come back.
Yeah.
I mean, if it takes Dame anywhere near that, I don't think he will. I mean, really just depends on the recovery. Hoping for the best for the man. Obviously a legend for the Portland Trailblazers, a legend in the league. One of the most fun players to watch, so hoping for the best for our man.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pacers, gentlemen sweep on the Bucks. How you feeling?
I mean, obviously excited. I feel like the rivalry in us is alive and well, especially after you saw the series close out and how things ended there. We can get into that in just a second, but the rivalry kept things exciting in every game. Obviously, there was more grit and fight, which I always love to see. I love to see the drama and the basketball, drama of it. But I kind of expected, I guess. I felt that we had that over the Bucks. Obviously, with Dame being out in game 1, I felt more confident. The return scared me, but injury-wise, obviously felt more confident. Again, prayers up to Dame. Nothing on that side of things. Didn't feel good that kind of way.
Never cool to see a player injured.
Yeah, regardless. Still wanted to compete with the best that the Bucks had to offer, but I think I saw it coming just because I don't like Giannis and his rivalry with us, but I mentioned it as the series was starting. I mean, he seemed to kind of distance himself from the Bucks, but rumors were there around the trade deadline. Obviously, someone like Giannis, we wouldn't expect to be moved around the deadline.
Same thing we said with Luka.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Until something like that happens. But, I mean, something I feel like there will be a lot more in question now this offseason. But the questions in Milwaukee that aren't our issue, so I'll take the advantages we get.
100%.
Now I'm scared.
Yeah.
I mean, I just mentioned it for almost 5 straight minutes. The Cavs are a different monster.
They are. It's definitely going to be a different test than what the Bucks gave you guys.
A healthy Cavs at that.
It's going to be played at a much faster pace. Good thing for the Pacers, though, one of the faster playing teams in the league on the offensive side. But it's going to be a fun matchup, man. It's going to come down to a lot of how Tyrese Halliburton performs. Need him to continue to step up and lead the offense, and guys like Pascal Siakam, if he can have big games, and how he plays against guys like Mobley and Allen, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, the biggest thing is even when Pascal or Tyrese have that fall off night, somebody steps up.
Right.
But our team stays in some kind of unit. Our depth keeps us alive. Right. I'm glad you mentioned the pace, though. Obviously the Cavs play faster than the Bucks, but our pace is one of those things that grind these teams down.
Right.
One of these things that are going to force injuries in a 7-game series because these other teams aren't as adept to running the pace we run every game.
Right.
So, I mean, we kind of grind teams into the ground with our play style.
Which is a good thing. I mean, we've seen that happen with the Bucks as deeper the series got.
Yeah, so everybody coming at the Pacers always gets an injury excuse, etc. Run with the Pacers.
Definitely not something you want to do. But yeah, shout out to them, man. It's gonna be a good series between those two. I'm definitely gonna be tuned in for some of those games. We'll probably have some, real life currency on some of those games. So
for sure,
we'll see how it goes.
Which the minute I put U.S. currency, the minute Tyrese Halliburton goes, 0 for 13.
Yeah.
2 free throw points.
Real quick, before we do move on from this, Pacers topic, I want to talk real quick about something we talked about the other day. I never really got a chance to respond to you about that situation with Giannis Antetokounmpo and the father of your superstar, Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
I'm
Jon Halliburton.
Yeah,
that was Jon.
Yeah, thanks. I don't agree with what the NBA is doing with that situation. Obviously,
what was the Pacers that made this?
I guess the Pacers. Yeah, my bad. Not the NBA technically. The Pacers. You guys were tuned in for any part of that series. You've seen the end of it where Giannis and Tyrese Halliburton's father got into a little altercation, kind of got face to face. Nothing physical, just a trash talk going on. And at the end of it, I do want to mention, as Giannis was stepping away, he said something along the lines of like, "Oh, we're cool, like I love you," or something like that to Halliburton's dad after the fact of the argument. For the Pacers to go as far as suspending him indefinitely is insane to me, especially in the midst of a playoff. Coming off a first round W over the Bucks. I mean,
the morale for Tyrese.
It's going to be insane, man. I mean, these guys having their fathers around is helping a lot. Something every guy dreams of having his father watch him play in the NBA playoffs. I mean, as an NBA player, what more do you want?
The suspension better be revoked. We happen to make some kind of huge run in Salsa.
Right. No, I 100% agree. I don't think it should have happened in the first place. It was some trash talk, man. It's part of the game. If it would have went farther than that, pushing, shoving, hitting, kicking, whatever would have happened, I would understand. But it didn't. They made up at the end. They were cool. There was nothing malicious that happened. I don't agree with it. I don't think Halliburton's dad should have been out there doing it in the first place, but we also don't know the whole story. We don't know who approached who, said what, totally, but at least I don't. So, I don't know, man. I don't agree, and I think the NBA should look into things like that more than just letting it slide by, but that's just my opinion.
Obviously, my For You pages on my socials being more like Pacers gear, I've probably seen a little bit more of it, but I've seen somebody's stance saying that the Pacers taking this is like a good proactive move for the Pacers because we're the team that, in a way, started the Malice of the Palace. We're the team that had NBA players go up into the stands and start an altercation. But I still don't agree with it. I'm just repeating someone else's stance. I'm the messenger here, but
right.
Halliburton's dad mentioned, obviously, he was completely cool with the Pacers, completely cool with Giannis, apologized to everybody, was okay with the situation that they laid out, but he said that he wasn't looking at Giannis. He was looking through Giannis. Obviously, he was there for Tyrese, but I mentioned the rivalry, the heat between this. I think Dame may have been one of the players mentioned, but I'm pretty sure Giannis was also one of the players that revealed as a votee or whatever for Tyrese Halliburton being the most overrated. So, and then Giannis said something along the lines of, "Don't effing disrespect me like that," while he was on the court. So,
interesting.
The altercation ensued and whatever was said there, but I mean, there was another altercation 5-10 minutes before this with Benedict Mathurin on the court as you're having a handshake.
Right.
So, I mean, to just say this was sort of without saying it, blame Jon Halliburton in this whole scenario is completely wrong.
100%. 100% agree. Spitting facts. Hopefully, he gets his justice and that's the switch can get lifted and he can enjoy this playoff run with his son.
Yeah, my man about to come in buy a ticket as a fan, come in disguise.
Yeah.
You don't have to show no ID getting into an NBA game.
That is very true. Hey, might not
as long as you don't show up with Tyrese, surely you can find a way.
Might not get his front row seats.
Yeah.
You're still
there. No, please, you're still good.
Yeah, I go check you up there. Hide out all the time up there.
Somebody said that they should have just moved him to a higher seat.
Yeah, facts. Moving back a couple rows, if anything.
We shall see.
Yeah. Next series in the East was the Knicks and the Pistons. Closed out last night in 6 due to a big shot from playoff MVP so far, Jalen Brunson. He's had some of the bigger games of the entire playoffs so far.
Let's not mention the error on Cade Cunningham and the Pistons. Obviously, a team that was off to a really hot resurgence. Cade Cunningham himself leading that team, but that moment right there with 4 seconds on the clock, as you make the biggest mistake for your team with the season on the line, shows exactly why they weren't ready as a whole to be in the playoffs or go much further.
Now, I don't want to use this as a downplay Detroit moment. I think, if anything, it should be a very uplifting moment for them, as hard as it is to lose in the playoffs. They showed a lot this season. They weren't even predicted to be here at all in the preseason before the season started, anything. And they got here, and they had a run. They took 2 games from the Pistons or from the Knicks, and were seconds away from taking it to 7. I mean, they came all the way back in that game, almost down, I think, like 15 in the start of the fourth quarter. Cade Cunningham solidified himself as a star and the leader of that team. And they got a lot of good young talent. Azor Thompson really came into form this year. Obviously still missing one of their bigger pieces in Jaden Ivey, who went down early in the season due to a season-ending injury.
Yeah.
So, a very big moment for those guys. A very big moment for those guys. And something to look forward to in the future for JB Biggerstaff and that Detroit squad.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Knicks, though. Once again, Jalen Brunson, MVP of the playoffs so far. He's been fantastic. But they're going into, a big series next round.
Until he matches up with Indy. Yeah. Matches up with Indy. Yeah. Hypothetically, if the Knicks were able to beat the Celtics, the Pacers are going to move on. It's the Knicks. They're this season. The Pacers.
Oh, it's crazy. Put your money where your mouth is, Old time saying.
Trav.
Yeah.
Something else. Cav, Pacers, and Foe.
Nah, Chase. Nah. Foe's crazy. Like you said. Foe's wild.
Oh.
Alright, Celtics beat the Magic in 5. That series isn't much to talk about. It's kind of an obliteration, from beginning to end for Boston, as we kind of all expected.
Yeah, Magic. Not a healthy team to begin with. Team that, with grit, got through the play-in, but just a team not
built for this.
Not built for the Celtics, for sure.
Absolutely. They got some good young pieces in Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, Anthony Black, and young guys over there at the guard position.
Are healthy.
Right. But still a lot of growing to do for that team. A lot of players still need to come to form and improve a little bit. And, maybe fix some of the coaching staff.
Yeah, good thing you got, beaches and good weather in Orlando, because the growing pains continue.
They've been rough for a long time.
Yeah.
Long time. But yeah, Celtics ran over them pretty easily. Meaning Cavs, Pacers, Knicks, Celtics, Final Four in the East. Should be a nice little, Eastern, what do they call those? Semi-conference finals or something like that? I don't know.
I can't stand them. I'm here for the conference finals and finals, let's be honest.
Literally. Facts.
That was the most annoying round of my career, too. Every time I play the 2K in my career, I get to the conference semi. I'm like, it don't even matter.
Yeah.
The semi, nobody's coming into the semi-final.
Why even? Just put us in the next round.
Let me get this quick photo sweep.
Yeah.
Somebody might tune into my games.
Speaking of FOO sweep, we move things over to the West in the Thunder and Grizzlies series, where the Thunder put a whooping on the Grizzlies in a 4-0 sweep.
T-Bane.
Yeah, man, it was rough.
Memphis.
They lost game 1 by 55.
Another team that really bit the injury bug a lot this season.
Very much so. And another big topic in Memphis is not really the decline, but the stop in progression for John Morant, who was on an unbelievable rise in the league last year before dealing with all the off-the-court things that happened, but didn't really take a step this year. Just mellowed out. Again,
with injuries and obviously self-inflicted, but like you said, all the off-court issues, I think all that's going to get to him. But didn't have a lot of many chances that I guess show that per se, but this series would have been a big opportunity for him to prove something or get a game on the best team in the West. But again, the best team in the West.
Speaking of good game, I do want to mention Game 4. I think the Grizzlies were up 30, almost 40 at one point before Jon Morant got injured.
Yeah.
Then blew the entire lead to lose by 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Jon Morant injury, but
right. Yeah. Once again, but let's be real. Even if they did win that game, they're not winning the series.
It's still been 4 Thunder and 5.
Yeah. Like they weren't taking 4 straight from the Thunder. They got destroyed in the first 3 games. So maybe next year, I guess, D-Bang, shout out.
You see, Jon Morant said after his injury that they would have won the series. He had them figured out.
Yeah, had them figured out.
You
lost by a combined.
I love the confidence in all big dog, but
the first 3 games. Like, bro, you had not a thing figured out.
Somebody's got to be on team roster to It's still got to be cool with the players, but when they're talking all this, be show them the box score.
Yeah,
dog.
Let's be real here.
We got outscored a lot.
And we did say it.
We're back.
Game 4 was the only right moment for the Grizzlies in that series, and they still lost.
Obviously they make media training optional for Mr. Jon Morant because he skipped all of it.
You don't care. Half of these players don't go to any kind of media training.
It's like those work training videos you're supposed to watch them, but they give you the option to where you can skip through them. He definitely skipped right through them.
Without a doubt. Guess on the quiz. I get it.
They gave him the option to retry. He just had to get 80%. Click and retry.
Every time. But I guess.
True or false? It is okay to throw up gang signs and gun symbols during an NBA celebration.
I mean, his new celebration was throwing a grenade. Like, come on, bro. You can't get nothing better.
Did you see the memes about him pulling out a rocket launcher next game?
Like, bro, you getting a little out of hand with your sellies. Keep it simple, bro. A cool little will do.
Curry got figure out a little nighttime maybe. Rub it in.
You keep it PG, man.
Oh man said EMP out.
Smoke grenade incoming.
Everybody clear out.
Come on, bro. Oh man. Well, as I was saying, I guess we can save the worst for last. Final series, well, not the final series, but the only other series to have a conclusion in the Western Conference at the moment, the Lakers and Timberwolves. Where do I begin? This is a soft topic for me right now.
I was going to say close to home.
Lakers got gentlemen swept by the Minnesota Timberwolves with possibly the best co-partner LeBron's had since D-Wade. I love AD to death, but Luka Doncic is a different breed. But man, is he a liability on defense. And, I heard the rumors everybody was talking about him when he was traded, his lack of defense and things of that nature. I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to think that this trade was...
even me on the outside, you think you guys could avoid that? LeBron, there's other pieces that could fight. You could outscore the Cons on defense. Right.
And that's what everybody hoped for. I also had a hope that this trade would light a fire underneath him. And, he was in the finals last year with a much worse roster on paper. Let's be honest. Obviously, just with the addition of LeBron James changes that completely. But I don't know how to feel, man. I'm very nervous for this offseason. I'm very scared of the decision Luke is going to make, whether he stays or goes. I'm kind of a free man at this point. Do what he wants. And also, the age and health of LeBron James and things of that nature. The window's closing very fast, and if Luka leaves, I think the window will be shut for at least LeBron James' career. But it's also not just on the players. Obviously, there was a lack of effort at some points by a lot of guys during that series, but I think there was a lack of coaching experience as well. I say this in the very nicest way possible. I love J.J. Redick. I think he was great for the Lakers. I think he's going to be great for the Lakers. He was a lot better than I ever expected when this, the announcement was made.
You're a very public, stark, non-fan of J.J. Redick.
Right. But he's grew on me. He's been very good for us. He kind of put some hype underneath this, I guess, per se. But the lack of experience showed a lot. In Game 4 alone, Jackson Hayes, 7'3" center, tallest guy on the roster, shooting 72% from the field during the regular season, averaging almost 10 rebounds a game, did not play a single minute in a game where Rudy Gobert had a career night of 27 points and 24 rebounds. When Rudy Gobert had 10 boards in the first quarter, I would have put Jackson Hayes in immediately. I mean, when you've seen the lack of height that we had out there, it should have been clicked in your head for any coach. Hey, whether he scores or not, you got to be on the floor, big dog. Just be a body.
Yeah.
Be a presence at 7 foot tall out there. But no, we ran small ball lineup. We tried to turn into the Warriors, and didn't quite work out for us, obviously.
Yeah.
Ant-Man turned into a demon. And you can probably hear the pain in my voice. It sucks, bro. I hate that we're eliminated. I had very high hopes for us this year.
I mean, just a week ago, we had them mocked as the final, as the champions.
Yeah, and we go out and win one game with Luka and LeBron on the same team. It's crazy. A lot of excuses that can be made, but I don't think it's about the excuses. We lost. That's the fact. That's what matters. And we got to move on. And we got to see what happens next year. And the biggest story of the offseason, once again, is the decision of Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
We're kind of just now in the sit and wait period. Ain't nothing we can do. Just kind of got to see how he feels, I guess.
Never once did we think that Luka would be a liability.
Right.
When the Lakers made this move.
Right. We was hoping that. Let's put it that way.
I still would like to state, I saw somebody earlier saying that they're making Nico Harrison look like a genius. Not a shot. Just, I don't care if he literally stepped to the side and stopped playing defense completely. This is still a horrible trade for Nico Harrison.
Without a doubt. Luka Doncic is obviously a much better player in terms of potential and everything else, out of rebounding and shot blocking, but I think this trade will go down as a much worse idea for the Lakers if Luka Doncic decides to leave.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you have no more youth or anything else around LeBron. I mean, you're stuck in, again, a purgatory of surrounding LeBron, with whatever's left.
Yeah.
Vet minimums.
Yeah, and I think if Luka leaves, that next year will be LeBron's final year. If he does play next year, I think it will be his retirement tour if Luka Doncic decides to take his talent elsewhere. Because at that point in your career, you're 40 years old, you have nothing around you and nothing to look forward to.
Remember that Cavs roster that had D Rose, D Wade out of his prime?
But LeBron was also very much younger.
That's about to be the Lakers.
Yeah, without a doubt. We can't be carried by the prime LeBron when he's almost 40 years old.
Buddy,
So yeah.
DeMar DeRozan.
I don't know how it feels as a Lakers fan. I'm nervous. I'm scared.
Chris Paul about to come play for you.
Yeah. We're about to have a retirement house in LA. Put the banana boat
The
together.
whole starting five going to retire at the end of the
We need
season.
Melo and D-Wade to come out of retirement.
Could you imagine a starting five retirement tour, though?
Banana boat, bro. That's really what they call themselves.
I know.
We throw. Screw it.
Bring Dwight back.
Yeah. We'll run big ball. We'll go CP3, D-Wade, Melo, LeBron, Dwight. I'm fired.
Yeah, see?
Fired. You take that squad back to 2016.
I was going to say 10 years ago. This team's nasty.
Undefeated. 82-0. Without a doubt. Oh, man.
And now they're lucky to win 40 games.
Unfortunately.
All of them got
I don't know why you give them 30 to be real. Okay, we're not done just yet, though. As you guys see from the promo, I think we're going to cancel NBA Deal or No Deal for the rest of the season, at least. There's just...
I need to get us a soundboard. That sad sound effect would
hit.
come in clutch right now.
It would hit for
We
sure.
used to have one, but it didn't work the right way, so we didn't.
Gotta invest. But yeah, just going to get a lot more difficult with the playoffs underway. Teams are getting eliminated. Players get bounced.
Yeah, I don't think you want to see Fred VanVleet versus Aaron Nesmith or TJ McConnell
Right.
as our final matchup here. So
Yeah.
We'll switch things around.
Yeah, we're going to slide away from that. We're kind of in the, I guess we still have a while, but we're kind of in the home stretch to the NFL season. We kind of got all the fun things done in the offseason, draft, free agency, all that. And then the NBA, full swing in the playoffs, and MLB kind of, now hitting mid-season form. So we got a lot still to do, obviously. We'll still be talking about basketball and things. So no deal doesn't mean no NBA.
Yeah.
But for now, I think we are done with the NBA section after doing that parlay for you guys. I'm just going to switch us over to the NFL side of things, where, once again, I just mentioned the draft has been complete.
Absolutely.
We were not here with you guys last week. We had some things going on, so we didn't get to talk about it then. Technically, was only round one of the draft that we could have talked about really anyways. So now we'll be able to talk about everything. We're going to go through, give some draft reactions for each team and some grades for how we believe these teams did. Okay, let me pull up. I just got to make sure I have a brain refresher. 2025 NFL.
ESPN, they have a
Far.
Yep.
No, not playoff bracket. Draft. There we go. Teams. Beautiful. Where did you start at? The Cardinals.
Where does mine was alphabetical.
Oh, what did I just do? I think it's because the Saints are my favorite team on here. So, or wait, yeah, it's the same. It just has the Saints.
Yeah, mine went to the website, so that's the favorite team registered.
We can start from the Cardinals.
All right, starting off our 2025 NFL draft breakdown, alphabetically here with the Arizona Cardinals.
There's already a good swing in there. Yeah.
This is a draft I like.
Yeah, it was
a lot of slept-on pieces here.
Right. It was kind of a draft that went under the radar, just due to the fact that they didn't have a lot of picks. They had one pick per round, which is obviously normal, but no extra picks and no huge names outside of maybe one of the bigger falls of the draft in the second round, Will Johnson.
Absolutely. A player that a lot of people were bringing up his knee injury concerns. Will Johnson said, this isn't an injury I've dealt with in almost 2 years.
Right.
And being out this last couple of stretch of games this last season with a turf toe injury.
Yeah.
So, a completely different injury. So, something that set him back that I don't believe should have happened. And, a player that, has Pro Bowl value in the second round.
Right. I 100% agree. I think outside of Travis Hunter, Will Johnson was the best corner in this draft. Obviously, you can argue guys like Ja'Day Barron and those guys. But I think Will Johnson is very, very good.
Yeah.
He has a lot of potential and a lot of upside and could be the number one corner over somewhere like Arizona. But yeah, guys like Jordan Birch, Walter Nolan was a good pick in the first round from Ole Miss. Denzel Burke was another good corner.
Yeah, falling down to the fifth round. Beautiful.
Yeah, one of the better corners out of OSU. And just like you said, a lot of slept-on names. Some sleeper picks, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was saying, it's one of those drafts that went under the radar. I guess you said word for word under the radar draft. But, again, it was more in the concerning way for me, I guess. You did no offensive pieces outside of that guard, which obviously any kind of offensive line is going to help Kyler Murray.
Right.
But, there were stale pieces in that offense, issues where they couldn't convert and just couldn't get the ball moving, and you didn't really see any major changes towards that in free agency either. So I don't know what their next move is, or they're just kind of hoping and praying, but
right.
I don't know. That's, I guess, the one thing I would take away from this, but still being such an under-the-radar draft and getting a steal in Will Johnson over injury concerns for, in my opinion, minor injuries outside of the knee that happened almost 2 years ago.
Right.
And players like Denzel Burke. And this is a really good draft.
I agree. I don't want to set the bar too high yet, because I think there's obviously some better drafts left. I think I'm going to give it like a B+. I think it was good. They hit 4 of their 5 top needs, technically, and picked up some good pieces with some potential.
Absolutely. I'm going to go B-.
Okay.
No, I'll go B+ with you. I'm trying to hate for no reason. I don't know. I'm more of that, like, I guess, needed, exciting pick. I think that offense pick really would have helped.
Right.
Something, maybe something in camp could have worked along better with another option, but they got really good pieces to fall to them without having to move or relinquish anything else for the future, I think. So
100%. So a really decent draft for Arizona to start things off.
All right, the Atlanta Falcons.
Now, I don't know how you feel, but I think this is one of my more favorite drafts. I know you probably don't agree. I really like this draft.
I don't hate this draft, but I don't like what they did to acquire their second pick.
Okay, no, I agree. I can see where you're
trading a future first for the 26th pick.
Right. But for James Pierce Jr., who at one point in preseason rankings was projected to be a top 3 pick on the first half of the season.
Absolutely. I mean, again, their defense
got
far and wide is obviously what they were lacking.
Yeah.
You got Jalen Walker, possibly the best linebacker in the draft.
Fantastic.
Outside of Abdul Kader, if you're going to count him linebacker, edge, whatever. Obviously, I'm not putting him above Abdul.
Right.
Again, like you mentioned, James Pierce, who preseason was a top 5 defensive player.
Without a doubt.
Xavier Watts from Notre Dame in the 3rd round. Billy Bowman, the double safety kind of confuses me, but
they lost Jesse Bates.
I was going to say you still have to fill in for the lack of Jesse Bates here, so you have a lot of potential there, and then Jack Nelson to add on to that O-line, new rookie Phoenix. Yeah.
I think this is a really good draft. They didn't have a lot of picks, but they made do with what they had. They made them picks count. Let's put it that way. I love their defense this year. I think the defense got a lot better with these picks. I think all 4 of these guys are going to be immediate starters, immediate playmakers, guys that can make a difference.
All 5?
Jack Nelson probably will start. I bet defensively wise, though. I think all 4 of those guys will be starters immediately. James Pierce, Xavier Watts, and Jalen Walker, without a doubt. Billy Bowman, maybe he'll play, some snaps behind Xavier Watts, depending how they feel about their safety,
etc.
Right, but I think they were fantastic. They did really good. I think I give this an A. I don't want to give it an A+, but I think they, made do with what they had.
I'll stick in the B+ range. I like what they did with the 5 picks. It's the D, C+ decision that brings it down for me.
Right.
But what they did with those 5 is still really to kick up that defense a whole notch with just 5 picks is a great move.
100%.
Division rival here for my Pittsburgh Steelers. Baltimore Ravens. A lot of picks.
Did I give Falcons A or A-?
You gave them an A.
I'm going to go A-. That's what I meant. Because A- for the Falcons. Because this draft was fantastic. You can't tell me it wasn't. They got so much
I cannot
talent.
compliment a division rival with the Baltimore Ravens.
Right. But as a football fan, this draft was good. Malachi Starks in the 1st round at 27 was an absolute steal.
I want to mention one of my favorite players in LaJonte Wester falling
100%.
to the 6th round.
That's what I'm saying. I think they had a lot of picks, and I think they got a lot of talent. Mike Green.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 picks?
Yeah. I think this draft was good. Mike Green was supposed to be one of the top edge picks, projected to be a 1st round pick. He fell to the end of the second just because of off the field issues.
Absolutely.
Once again, Malachi Starks at 27 was such a steal. Him and Kyle Hamilton,
You
top
got
of the defense.
3 offensive linemen with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. The pieces are going to have to move around, and obviously health and depth is always a key need.
Emory Jones is fantastic. I don't see how he fell that far down in the draft. He was probably one of the top 3 linemen in the class, in my opinion, maybe top 4. He was really good. And like you said, LaJonte Wester deep in the draft to add on to that wide receiver core.
They're lacking draft wide receiver core.
Yeah, 100%.
Not bad.
I like this draft. They filled every position of need according to ESPN in the top 5 of their positional needs.
Malachi Starks, by the way, but Malachi Starks falling to 27 and one of the best teams in the Baltimore Ravens
should be. It was the first thing I said.
I know, but it should be illegal.
No, I agree.
I just like these last couple of teams when it comes to like pick wise and best record. Like we'll get to it when we get to it. But these teams, should we?
Because they just take best available. They don't have any position.
And all the controversial stuff in the top 20 had nothing. They still got some of the best available players.
Without a doubt. Yeah, I love this Ravens draft. I'm going to give them an A. I think this deserves an A.
I'm going to go B plus again.
You going to tell me this is the same draft as the Falcons and the Cardinals? Not a chance. They did so much better. For what they needed and what they had.
Mine. There's B.
Take the beef out of your head. Okay. Now moves on to the Bills. Interesting draft. They did what they needed. Their first 3, 4, 5 picks were defense, which makes sense. Josh Allen kind of locked down that offense. They're kind of telling him, "You got what you got. Do what you can with it. We're gonna fix the defense."
Yeah, they were a top 5 team in points per game. So
right, the offense didn't need much health. But they filled a lot of defensive needs. Cornerback in the first round, defensive tackle in the second round, edge rusher in the third round, another DT in the fourth, corner in the fifth. They did good. Maxwell Harrison was really not really good, but he was good.
An amazing locker room guy if you saw in draft night. Yeah. Amazing pick. Obviously, I love that pick. I mean, a lot of these picks just kind of confuse me.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you go best available when you're a team like Buffalo, but I don't know. I don't know if anybody. There's 2 or 3 players that may come in and make an impact, but I don't know.
No, I agree. I don't think it's nowhere near the best. One of the more lackluster drafts, obviously. Kind of have to see how some of these guys pan out, nonetheless. But
they went 13-4. I mean, it doesn't matter how you draft.
Not at all. I'll give it a B minus. I don't want to crack the C's yet. I don't think it was that bad.
Absolutely.
Did you say B plus?
B minus.
All right. Carolina Panthers. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed, nonetheless. Like very. I ain't even gonna lie to you. The more I look at this, Ted McMillan in the first.
This is my Madden draft class. If I were on Madden, I knew one of these teams. I had to mention that I would pull off a Madden draft. Maybe the Carolina Panthers.
No, 100%. Oh, excuse me. But this draft was fire. Ted McMillan in the first round was a really good pick. Not something a lot of people expected, but was a great pick. Very well deserved of being the 8th pick. Nick Scorton in the second round. That's an amazing pick on the bench. Getting Trevor Etienne in the 4th round is crazy to me. Mitchell Evans is another really good tight end.
Jimmy Horn in the 6th round.
My favorite pick of this draft for them. I mean, love Jimmy Horn. Obviously, shout out Joe Horn. His father played for the New Orleans Saints. But I'm glad Jimmy's getting a chance. I'm super excited for him. And Carolina's got a bright future, man. If Bryce Young, I know I've had a lot of Bryce Young hate, and I still do. I don't think he's better than CJ Stroud. Never will be. But I hope the best for him. I think he'll be okay. He shows it, flashes at the end of last year, last half of the season. Man, a really good class for them. I like this class a lot. How you feel?
Absolutely. They got almost all their needs. I mean, the team is improving and has a lot of needs and holes to fill, obviously, but you still cracked in a lot on that offense. Obviously, you pick up ETN when you saw Jonathan Brooks have 2 injuries take him out for the season.
Right.
And Nick Scorton falling to the second round. I mean, it's a beautiful draft.
Yeah. Really good for them. I'm going to give them an A.
Yeah, I'm right in the A range with this.
Alright, so simultaneous A's for the Carolina Panthers. Moves on to the Chicago Bears. I like this draft. I love their second round pick. The first round pick, I'm not so sure of.
That alone. I mean, this draft, I don't know. Obviously, having a player like Luther Burden fall in the second round is
fire.
One of the biggest steals possibly of the draft. still getting a Shamar Turner,
Fire.
Zoff, Frazier. I mean, you've got really good late value.
Right.
But Colston Loveland at 10?
Listen,
I know how Ben Johnson
Right.
likes to run his offense. That alone may knock this down to a C.
For a couple of reasons. For one, he's not the best tight end in the draft. There was a better tight end on the board.
He went 4 picks later.
Right.
A team that didn't have to move. I mean, we mocked him there.
I do want to react to some of our mocks. We haven't technically.
Yeah, after this, we will pull up.
Yeah. Or we could do that. We could do that next week as like a whole segment, like a reaction to our mocks. So we have like 3 of them. Unless if we get done in enough time, we can pull them up this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just not so sure. I think they could have done a lot better at pick 10. Definitely said someone skip. That was going to be way more impactful. I know Ash and JT didn't fall to 10 like they were hoping. But Tyler Warren, even once again, just would have been a better pick if you really wanted to go tight end. But Luther Burden, best pick of their draft. I think this will be my first C+.
Absolutely.
I'm just not a big fan outside of those 2 picks and Luther and Shamar Turner.
Ben Johnson's going to have to show us what his plan was here.
I do have high hopes for Ben Johnson, though.
Absolutely.
Ugh.
This is another draft I may have to give a C.
Ugh.
To be completely honest with you.
I think their first pick attacked their biggest need, obviously an edge, possibly losing Trey Hendrickson, Shamar Stewart.
I don't know. There may have been better edges on the board.
No, I agree. Obviously James Pierce was still on the board at this point, who went 26 to the Falcons. Yeah, I'm not a fan, man. I don't think they did much of anything. Like, that they really needed Taj Brooks in the 6th round. I don't know how I feel about that. He's okay.
I mean, they missed the mark with Shamar. They're for better names, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm not an NFL scout by any means, but Demetrius Knight feels like a miss.
Yeah.
You can never go wrong with offense with Joe Burrow and his injury concerns.
You didn't need to help the offense.
No, but you know what I mean.
No, I know. Yeah, right.
Protecting your quarterback,
right.
Almost the number one golden rule in football these days. But 2 linebackers, this feels like you missed the mark.
Yeah.
You didn't necessarily need Taj Brooks by any means.
Chase Brown emerged as the starter last year.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to change much this year. I don't know, man. I think I'm going to have to give this one. I don't want to be mean, bro. I think I'm going to have to give this like a C-. I think this is the worst one so far. That's my lowest grade.
Again, Steelers fan, the blood in me boils with these division rivals.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go to the Cleveland Browns, another division rival, back to back for you guys. At least we'll have all 3 of them out of the way. You can stop being biased after this.
I want to no, regardless of the bias, I'm going to say outside of the double quarterback topic we'll have a lot to talk about, I really like this draft. Big fan of what they did outside of that confusing situation.
Okay, I'm gonna say 2 things because I love this draft as well. I love the names. That's what gets me. It's not perfect for anyone who watched college football last year too.
No, of course.
But double quarterback, like you said, and the double running back really confuses me. Now, if this was something like Quinshon Judkins and some lower tier guy down in the 7th round, maybe I'd be like, okay, whatever.
You went right back at it.
2 top running backs in Quinshon and Dylan Sampson. I know this is a 2 running back league. A lot of the teams love their running back by committee, but I don't get it.
Nick Chubb is still not necessarily.
He's a free agent.
I know, but not. He hasn't signed anywhere.
I know, but he's not coming back to Cleveland. Especially after this. I just think they wasted their 4th round pick. I don't think you needed to take Dylan Sampson. You got Quinshon Judkins.
You wasted 2 picks on 2 Dylans.
Yeah.
You didn't need Dylan Gabriel or Dylan Sampson.
Yeah. And
outside of that, though,
I just, I get Shedeur fell to the 5th round, and you're like, okay, we have to take him now. But, why did you not just take him in the 3rd over Dylan Gabriel?
Yeah.
What was the point?
Something tells me, maybe there's a lot of owner decision controversy around this, but somebody said that Dylan Gabriel was ranked higher on their board from the beginning, and there's just no way. But then
why take Shedeur? You signed Joe Flacco, you traded for Kenny Pickett, you still have Deshaun Watson, and you now have Dylan Gabriel and Shadur Sanders. You're not going into the year with 5 quarterbacks. I'll tell you that now. Nobody does that. I mean, you don't need 5 QBs. What are you going to do with these guys? Do you cut Kenny Pickett? Probably. He's probably the worst out of the 5. Let's be real. You can't get rid of Deshaun Watson due to contract, things. Surely you don't cut Shadur or Dylan Gabriel, right? I mean, surely. And then that leaves Joe Flacco, who you just signed. You're obviously not going to cut. What do you do? I mean, you can realistically walk into the year with 4 quarterbacks if you do cut Pickett, but confused. Confused is the only word I have for this. I don't know. I like Mason Graham a lot. I love that pick. I love Carson Schlesinger in the second round. Really good linebacker.
Quinshon Judkins, beautiful pick.
Yeah, I love that.
They were off to a beautiful start up until the 3rd, and somebody else took over.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I do like it, though. I don't think I'm going to be super mean. I think for me, this is like a B.
My man Stefanski went to the bathroom during the Dylan Gabriel and Dylan Sampson pick. He came back like, what are you doing? Shadur's still on the board?
We already drafted Quinshon. Why did you get another one? Yeah, I don't know. This is a B for me. I wish I could put it higher, but the double QB and double running back just really throws me off.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where we'll just have to see how it pans out.
Right. What's your grade? You didn't grade it?
I'm absolutely in the B range with you.
Okay.
No, I said I was high with it.
Okay. All right.
A trade or a draft that I'm not high on. I mean, there's pieces I like, but
I'm not high on this draft, but it's not the worst one I've seen so far.
no, not by any means either. Just that Dallas hate, I guess.
The first round pick, I'm not a huge fan of. Tyler Booker at 12 is kind of wild to me. I seen a thing that Jerry Jones said they're trying to beef up the line to be able to run the tush push next year.
It's just funny to me having all those Tylers on the O line. Jerry Jones and his dimensions got to play a part.
Tyler
making sure he doesn't forget.
Tyler, what's the other one on the edge? Tyler Biadasz is the center. Booker's the guard. There's an edge guy. What's his name? Tyler. It's not Smith, is it? It might be. I don't know. Maybe something like that. But yeah.
Jerry Jones was walking up to the boys saying, "Hey, Tyler." Hey.
Yeah, he doing it.
I don't remember the last name. He's another Tyler.
Yeah. But I do like the Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa picks. I know, once again, the double running back thing was kind of weird for Cleveland. But like I said, it makes more sense in this situation. I think Jaden Blue is better than Phil Maffa. But I think Phil Maffa's a good piece to have at the end of the bench. He's not necessarily a guy that needs to start.
Regardless, needed running back.
Right.
You didn't take wide receiver, which is possibly your biggest need.
100%.
I love the Siobhan cornerback pick in the 3rd round, but outside of this, I just feel like it's a lot of misses.
Yeah. I mean, going double running back, I think really solidified the fact that you don't want a receiver. Also going double DT it in the 7th round.
Double defensive tackle in the late rounds. You got another linebacker with your edge piece.
I mean, there was a lot of receivers in this class. Keep in mind, Isaiah Bond went undrafted. I get he had a horrible 40, not a really good combine, but he was a guy that was fantastic in college that deserved a shot at least. You could have done better.
Matthew Golden went 22
to
the Packers.
Yeah, literally.
The Cowboys had the 12th
pick. Went to the 2nd round.
Yeah, Cowboys had the 12th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
You could even got Tyler Warren at this point.
Literally.
Might be a big player.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so the Tyler Booker pick, very weird. Definitely not where they should have gone, but it's a Jerry Jones pick nonetheless.
Yep.
Not a huge fan. I'm going to give this a C+.
I may have to go D.
D, wow.
I'll go D plus to try and keep it, close. They fell 1 percentage point out of my C range.
I'll go C, not C+. I'll go C. I like that.
Yeah, they fell 1 percentage point out of my C range, but I said, that they hit all these other key needs, but I feel like wide receiver was also leaps and bounds your number 1 need.
And you skipped on it like 8 times.
Dak Prescott's sweating right now when he's out of a contract next season.
When he's going to be getting triple team next year.
Yeah. Dak Prescott's either traded or off the team next season because he's been under a lot of controversy his whole career, let alone, again, having no weapons.
Right, and obviously lost Brandon Cooks to free agency, so There's not much help over there for them guys. Okay, moves us on to the Denver Broncos. Now, I have mixed feelings. I love their first 2 picks. Absolutely love it. After that, I'm not a huge fan.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Their first 2 picks were tremendous. They nailed those. 100% nailed. But I don't know what happened after. Janae Barron, probably the second or third best corner in this class behind Hunter and possibly Will Johnson, depending on how you look at it. R.J. Harvey, my favorite pick for them. I love this pick. I think R.J. Harvey is a guy that was slept on a lot last year. I had him on a lot of touchdown slips on college football Saturdays. He was really good, and I think he can come in and be the number 1 running back off rip. I think he'll start week 1. I think he'll be the boatload of the carries once he gets accustomed to the offense. Obviously, you lost Javonte Williams to the Cowboys this offseason. And the only guy you really got for competition is Audric Estime and Jaleel McLaughlin. And I think he beats out McLaughlin with ease. I think him and Estime split carries possibly next year, but I think by the end of the year, R.J. Harvey is the bell cow back for him.
He's a dog. He scares me being an undersized 5'8" back, but
when has that ever hurt you?
He ran the 4th fastest 440, so.
Yeah, and he's tough, bro. He can break through tackles like it's nothing with that kind of speed and size, so little size. But
it just feels like they missed the mark again. Something I've said a lot, though, on all these other late picks. Jeremy Crawshaw, Hunter, 6th round.
Yeah.
Steelers went kicker in the draft, so I can't say too much about the special teams picks, but
right.
You wait till the 7th round to go get Caleb Lohner from Utah. And again, you had better tight ends available almost the whole draft.
Right. Yeah, the Pat Bryant pick will confuse me a little bit. Much better receivers on the board at that point still, even with the top guys gone.
Yeah.
So 3 through 7 for them. Iffy. 1 and 2, you nailed it. If I could split this draft up, 1 and 2 is an A+. And
back to
3 through 7 is an F.
Back to back edge pieces. That wasn't even really a need for this team.
Right. I'm going to give it a... I do like their first 2 picks. It's kind of carrying the load. I'm going to give it a B-.
I'll go C+.
Their first 2 picks sold me. I love them both. Janae Barron should be good hit alongside the Depoy Surtain.
The defense is going to be scary. That's a statement. It would be.
As it has been
Yeah.
for a while, really. Okay. Moves us on to the Detroit Lions. I don't know how I feel. This might be my first toss-up. I like some of the picks. Looking at this, I kind of think their 7th round pick might be my favorite. And Dominic Lovett, I think he was good for Georgia last year. One of their better receivers. Tyreek Williams in the 1st round, I don't really understand. You just extended, what's his name? The big DT they just drafted like 3 years ago. Oh my God.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Aleem McNeil.
Yeah.
Yeah, just extended him on a pretty decently sized contract to be nose tackle. I know kind of their problem last year when people went down with injuries was their defensive line, which obviously you're trying to prevent. But Aiden Hutchinson coming back this year. I don't know if Tyreek Williams really has a spot unless you're running, 4-3 primarily with 2 DTs out there, but I think you could have done better. Tate Bradley, I don't know, he's okay, I guess. I don't know, the draft kind of throws me for a loop.
Yeah, I mean, just one of those, I guess, kind of best available type situations.
Right. I mean, they attacked their needs, essentially, for the most part. 15-2 last year, you didn't need much help.
Exactly. They weren't stressing about it.
Right. I'm going to go... What did I give Denver a B-? I'm going to go... C+. I don't think it was better than Denver's. I don't think it was that great.
I'll say C+. All the same for me.
Okay. Moves us on to the Green Bay Packers. Where things get a little better.
A little bit.
Attacked all their needs. And their biggest need for the first time since the Aaron Rodgers era in Green Bay, they finally drafted a wide receiver in the 1st round, bro. Wouldn't do it for A-Rod, but you did it for J-Love.
Yeah, Aaron Rod's somewhere mad right now, punching the air.
Right.
But Matthew Golden, I picked 23, by the way. Let me correct myself from earlier, though. Matthew Golden, Green Bay Packer.
Good pick.
Absolutely.
Great pick for them. That wide receiver core, we talked about it all year last year. They got a bunch of number 2s and 3s. They don't have a number 1.
Absolutely. We said it every time we talked about it.
Yeah. Matthew Golden had one of the more impressive combines, believe did lead wide receivers in 40 or was top 3 or something like that.
It was had a very good.
Yeah, running like a 4.24, I believe, somewhere around there. So obviously really, really fast.
Yeah, sub 4.3, so under 4.3. If anybody doesn't know what sub means.
Yeah, so I was a little high on the 4.24, but somewhere around there I know.
A pro comparison of Garrett Wilson. So if he comes at 4.2940.
Okay.
By the way,
Yeah.
but if he comes anywhere close to a Garrett Wilson, I'm sure they're very happy with that pick.
100%. I mean, he can come in and immediately be the number 1 if he has a really good training camp and off-season or preseason. Could really be a big pick for them. He become Jordan Love's favorite target very quickly.
Absolutely. Going back to a wide receiver in the 3rd round confuses me for Savion Williams, but
Anthony Belton in the 2nd round, a little iffy. Outside of really Matthew Gold, not a lot of huge names, kind of just some pieces, some depth, I guess, per se. Nobody that's really going to be a difference maker. But an overall decently good draft for Green Bay. Like I said, filled a lot of their needs, a lot of depth, and finally drafted a receiver. So I think I got to give this like a B+.
I was going to say B-.
Yeah.
Matthew Golden's pick holds a lot of weight here.
Yeah, 100%. Okay.
Houston Texans.
And man, this pains me. They could have done so much better. I understand they didn't have a 1st-round pick, which hurts. But taking Jaden Higgins with Luther Burden's on the board threw me for an absolute loop.
100%. I think it threw a lot of people for a loop.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was expecting Jaden Higgins. Again, they traded out of their first. Didn't they have a 1st-round pick? Didn't they trade out to get in this situation?
They might have, yeah.
I think I like the Jalen Noel pick more than the Jaden Higgins. To be honest with you.
And I think the only reason they did that was kind of they seen what happened with C.J. Stroud and big old Nico Collins, a 6'4" last year. Go out and get him another 6'4" guy.
Yeah.
He can throw the ball up too. Obviously, hoping, probably not this year, maybe late in the year, but hoping for a Tank Dell return at some point to throw back in the slot. Wouldn't be bad for him to have, 2 6'4" on the outside and Tank Dell running across the middle, but I don't know, man. I think Luther Burden was the better prospect, and I think with him on the board, there was really no reason to take Higgins, but what am I?
Yeah, I mean, Higgins may have the impact. I think the biggest impact player may be Jalen Reed or Jalen Smith. A bunch of Jalen's in this draft, by the way, and Shuey. But I think the biggest impact players may be your 6th or 3rd round picks on defense.
I also think Ursery will probably come in and be a starter. Obviously, with the trade of Laramie Tunsil, they had a gaping need at offensive line. Obviously, moved on from
Ariante.
Shaq Mason.
That's heck of a name.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. They moved on from 3 starting O-linemen this offseason, so
yeah,
it was a big need for them. I think they did. Not a huge fan, but I don't absolutely hate it. I think this is like a C+ for me.
I could keep it in the B- range.
All right, Indianapolis Colts are next up.
In the draft, I really liked. They did really well.
I'm a decent fan. I'm not jumping in joy for this. Obviously, I'm not a Colts fan, but I think it was okay. They did good. Their 1st-round pick was a steal, 100%, especially with a tight end coming off the board, and it wasn't Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me still. But yeah, Tyler Warren is a fantastic piece for them. They've been looking for that premier tight end since Dallas Clark, and I think you might finally get it.
Yeah.
I really think he's going to be the Brock Bowers of this draft class.
100%. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, he could be their number 1 target next year. We've seen the struggle for a number 1 receiver last year with the downstep from Michael Pittman. Tyler Warren's going to come in and be a huge target, and he's such a good route runner at tight end. It reminds me so much, like I said, of Brock Bowers, but guys like George Kittle and just guys that can get over.
It's that middle of the field playmaker. Big catch, big play.
Right. So he's going to be huge for them, especially with the young quarterbacks and the struggling of some of those guys getting the ball down the field.
Absolutely. Obviously, AR had his struggles last season, bringing in Daniel Jones this offseason to kind of compete. We know AR has been working with Josh Allen's QB coach, so there's still potential.
Right.
He was still younger than most quarterbacks in this draft, by the way.
Right.
So a lot of Colts fans need to hang on, have faith, in my opinion. I think there's still a lot of unnecessary hate towards AR. Right. This dude is built like Josh Allen, has a cannon for an arm,
Right.
Can run the ball with ease. And I mean, he's coming in as a project quarterback. You knew that from the jump.
Without a doubt. And he's definitely showing.
Yeah, still a lot of time to improve.
Right.
JT Tuipulotu in the second round, I think, is going to be a huge impact on their defense as well. I feel like they sub out a lot on defense.
Right.
A team that doesn't blitz a lot, so any defense is valuable for them.
100%.
Justin Wally at cornerback. Jalen Travis, obviously an offensive line isn't yet. Shout out to Travis.
Yeah, but no.
O-line is a huge need in Indy, but with that carousel of quarterbacks over there and a valuable piece in Jonathan Taylor, always good to have depth.
I love DJ Giddens. I was waiting for you to get to this point.
Yeah.
I love that pick a lot for them. We know running backs obviously aren't the most valuable thing ever in the draft nowadays, but having a guy behind Jonathan Taylor that can take over.
Yeah, I mean, JT has shown he's injury history. I mean,
yeah.
DJ Giddens can come into play. I mean, obviously RB2 at this point.
Right. I mean, they were a team last year during those JT injury problems, so we're signing running backs out of free agency to play ball.
Exactly.
So having someone like DJ Giddens, young talent, even just behind Taylor, if anything was ever happened with him leaving, Giddens is a huge piece to have back there.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of unnecessary confusion and hate from some people towards Riley Leonard. I love this pick. This is your franchise backup quarterback, regardless of who your QB1 is.
Listen, I think Riley Leonard will be more of a Taysom Hill than he ever will be a starting quarterback.
No, I'm not. Yeah,
I don't want to hate on this kid. He led Notre Dame
not a starting quarterback
to a national championship. He did his thing, but when this man drops back to throw the ball, he looks like a middle schooler. You can see the panic in his eyes. He doesn't read defense as well. The way he progresses through his reads is so sloppy. I'm not trying to hate on the kid, bro, but he's such a better running quarterback than he is a passing quarterback.
Exactly.
And I've
He'll
said
be in a
this
special
year.
Special packages.
Yeah, I don't think he will ever be a full-time starting quarterback. I think he'll get playtime. Like I said, I think it'll be a lot like Taysom Hill, running on QB options and QB dives up the middle and things of that nature. But I don't think he'll ever be the lead guy back there.
You may have a franchise backup quarterback.
Yeah, right.
Your new Brett, whatever his name was.
Brett.
What was, I don't remember his name. Bollinger or something.
Bollinger? I don't know where you're going.
Hold on, no, Sam Ellinger. That's what I was thinking of. I didn't have to.
What did you call him? Bill Bollinger?
Brett Bollinger.
Brett Bollinger?
I don't know how I got to it.
Good lord.
Shout out my boy Brett.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess good for Riley, bro. I really didn't expect him to get drafted, but we'll see what happens.
Shout out Hunter Roller at safety because I forgot him on our graphic for anybody tuned into our Facebook.
Dang.
I had the 2 6th-round picks, but forgot all Hunter.
I think I'm gonna go B.
B+.
I think outside of Warren and Tuimalu is a little and Giddens, those 3 picks are good. They kind of carry the draft, but good nonetheless. Jacksonville Jaguars.
Outside of their first pick, I don't know. Duval.
Travis Hunter, bro.
He's the face of Jacksonville. Have you seen? He is the face of Jacksonville.
That's all I have
They
to
changed their TikTok profile to him. They had like 20-some posts within the first couple hours.
Yeah.
The face of Jacksonville.
Listen, I don't care how the rest of this draft went. By trading up to 2, they won at least the first round. No questions asked.
They lost the trade.
Did they? Listen, I think it comes down to how impactful Travis Hunter is going to be. Because if he really does play full-time wide receiver and cornerback, he's worth 2 picks. He's a wide receiver and he's a cornerback. That's something you're not going to find literally anywhere else.
I mean, that's what they said. They said he's a generational player.
Yeah,
essentially.
If he really goes full-time, both sides, he's worth the trade.
I want you the Browns, before they made this trade and before the draft officially got underway, called Travis Hunter the Shohei Ohtani of football.
They're 100% right. You're not wrong.
Pitcher, home run, dynamic, and Shohei.
I think they were banking on getting that first-round pick next year to kind of help them possibly, but I really think trading out of that spot was not smart. I think Travis Hunter's that good. I think he will be that good. I think he's the rookie of the year.
I think Cleveland just knew that couldn't turn their franchise around. Regardless, you can't waste,
I don't know.
I guess, generational talent on it.
I do like the fit in Jacksonville, though. I think he kind of joins another realm of those highly touted college players and Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne.
If he stays and things work out, I'll love to see like the Jalen Ramsey stat comparisons once he gets his career underway. And
right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it won't take him long to get in the wide receiver stat books over there.
No, well, Liam Cohen came out and said they're looking to primarily play him as a wide receiver coming out to start the season, but they're in works of like making sure. He said they're talking to a bunch of like medical teams and things of that nature about him playing both sides and like how it could impact like his health and body and things. But the goal is for him to play both sides.
I feel like from the jump you knew that he stated he wanted. He joked and said he would retire if the team wouldn't allow him, but
right.
How far was that a joke? But
obviously,
I think most teams knew he wanted to play that. It's crazy that ESPN has him ranked as just a cornerback.
Yeah.
By the way, but
literally.
I think you knew that he'd get at least special packages at the very least.
100%. He will play both sides at some point this season.
I just feel like outside of Travis Hunter,
I love the Jack Kaiser pick.
You missed.
I want to throw that out there. I think Jack Kaiser is really good. Yeah. I swear to God, I know the show. He has like 35 power. But Jack Kaiser was really good. He was Indiana football player of the year or something like that when he played in high school around here from Indiana.
Shout out.
College. But yeah, Jack Kaiser, Travis Hunter, probably the two best picks of the draft. Outside of that, I don't know. But this is an A. I'm sorry, Travis Hunter puts this draft on his back. I can't give the Travis Hunter pick itself anything lower than an A. Like, I'm sorry. It was such a good pick. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. You get Trevor Lawrence, a quarterback that has shown he's got a lot of skill and potential, that wide receiver he desperately needs.
Yeah. 1,000.
All right. 32nd pick, the team that lost the Super Bowl.
This was trash. This was awful. The only reason you drafted Josh Simmons is because you traded away Joe Tinney to the Bears.
You showed exactly why you're falling off, I guess.
I don't understand this at all. I don't like this draft. I don't think anybody is going to be good. They drafted one receiver.
Josh Simmons, shouldn't be an impact.
Yeah, sure.
Good is a stretch, but impact will play.
Yeah.
So he needs to.
I don't know, man. I'm just not a fan of none of this at all, to be honest with you. There's just nothing eye-popping about this draft. I know that's not everything, but this is...
It's just a lot of players were ranked a lot lower.
This might be a D for me.
Overall and position-wise than they were taken.
Yeah. I kind of feel like that's how the Chiefs always are. But I think this is a D. Not a big fan.
Until we find out that Jeffrey Bossa is the next Chris Jones. But yeah, 100%.
Literally. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm going with a D. Not much to talk about in that draft.
Absolutely. The Chargers confused me a lot with this pick.
Which one?
Your first one.
Why?
Why did you sign Najee Harris?
Okay, let me ask you this. How was the majority of the offense ran last year when both running backs were healthy? It was a two-back set. Almost all the time. They were swapping carries, splitting carries, especially when J.K. Dobbins was playing, off the injury, come back from the injury. I think Gus Edwards played quite a bit. I think even with the signing of Najee Harris, you've seen how Pittsburgh used him last year with the Jalen Warren situation where he split carries. It's quite literally, down the middle. But I think Amir Hampton plays.
He's not that powerhouse or cowbell running back.
He's not. Let's be real. He's not an every down back. I like the pick. I like Amir Hampton. I think he was the second best running back in the class behind Ashton Jitty. And I think John Harbaugh would do good with him. Or Jim Harbaugh, excuse me, not John. You know how he loves to run the ball. He was a college guy himself who probably watched Marion Hampton at some point.
I love that they went and got Trey Harris in the second.
Yeah. I do like Trey. Obviously, wide receiver is probably their biggest need. Only having Lad McConkey. I don't care what anybody says Quentin Johnston is not good.
Yeah. Missed his mark, unfortunately.
Yeah, without a doubt. So yeah, good pick, Trey Harris. After that, you attack positional needs, I guess, at some point outside of your offensive line. Outside, I mean, you should have a tackle late in the draft, but I'm not sure a lot of these other guys will really be much of an impact.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just more confused about this draft. As of right now, I'm just gonna have to go B-.
I like it. I'm gonna go B. Go with a B.
Rams.
Yeah.
This is a confusing
What am
draft.
I even looking at?
They traded out of the first. They get another future first next season, which could help in the replacement of Matthew Stafford. So that's obviously smart on their part. But this season, I don't know.
Yeah.
Chris Paul Jr., by the way,
I did
is my favorite draftee.
Facts.
I don't think the Terrence Ferguson pick was bad. I feel like he is just like a Jake Ferguson. As weird as that is to put that.
Literally the same last name. Probably his little brother, if we're being honest. Yeah, I don't know. Josiah Stewart in the second round. I think you drafted double defensive line last year. And Braden Fisk and Jared Verse. Not sure how to feel about that pick. Running back pick's weird. You drafted Blake Corum last year to back up your lead back and Kyron Williams.
Yeah, you didn't really need him.
Tie in with him, you kind of already replaced Aaron Donald with Kobe Turner. Chris Paul Jr., of course.
Picked up Kanata Monfield after you got rid of Cooper Kupp and
Yeah.
the emergence of
They
Puka.
did add Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I mean he's 45 years old.
Yeah. But Puka is the guy. I think they just tried to hit on another Puka, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Not a month.
I mean, they made the smart move, but obviously, again, no players. I don't know if anybody here is going to make the impact outside of Terrence Ferguson, just because. What's his name again? Starting tight end. Tyler Higbee is just injury prone. He's 32. I mean, Josiah Stewart obviously is going to get some packages, but impact wise, I don't really see it.
Right.
Because they went more game planning for the future here, which isn't obviously a bad thing. C-.
I'm going to go with you. I don't want to give it a B, but definitely down next. The Las Vegas Raiders. First pick, fantastic.
You did the best thing possible. The guy fell to you. He already had a nickname before the draft. Did you know that? He knew he was known.
Let's be
Again, we mocked this.
Yeah. Way before anybody else.
Yeah.
I don't care. Way before. You can check dates.
We're doing this next week. We're
Yeah.
going back through all our mock drafts. We're going to reshare everywhere.
Without a doubt.
Yo mama's going to know. We called these picks before it happened.
That's what we do.
But he nicknamed himself the Silver Surfer
That's fire.
before the draft.
That's gas. That's so gas.
See?
I love that. And dude, he was the best pick in the draft. Like, positional fit wise, placement wise, like whatever you want to talk about.
Trade and get Jack Beck in the second round. That's a beautiful pick.
Yeah, they did good, bro.
Darian Porter falls to third.
Dante Thornton from Tennessee was really good last year.
You pick up 2 more offensive linemen.
Listen, I know it's the Raiders, but Pete Carroll did all right.
Absolutely. He knows talent.
This is a solid draft, bro. I think Ashton Genty's going to be... Dude. I don't know if I'm going to be able to decide between Hunter and Genty on Rookie of the Year, bro. I really don't. Like, it's going to be tough for me. I think it's a toss-up.
But I really love the Cam Miller description here because I was just going to mention that you always know a North Dakota State quarterback can be reliable at the very least. Shout out Carson Wentz.
Facts.
But the description Miller is a 2-time FCS national champion quarterback, 2-time captain who led North Dakota State to a 45-11 record as a starter.
Wow.
My man about to come in and take over.
Hey, move over, Gino. There's a new sheriff in town. I'm going to go with an A.
I was going to say
A minus, somewhere around there.
absolutely.
I like it. Ashton Genty was a fantastic pick. Oh, excuse me.
Another,
listen,
kind of confusing draft.
I'm gonna be wholeheartedly honest with you. The 6th and 7th round was way better than their first 5.
Yeah, your first pick was horrendous in my opinion. You know, to put that out there, but
yeah, Kenneth Grant, bro, at 13.
at 13,
there was so many better options.
13.
You did not need to take a DT at 13, bro. Like at all. Sold that pick. Jonah was a decent pick for the O-line in the second round. Ollie Gordon. Listen, he had a horrible year at Oklahoma State last year compared to what we expected. But Ollie Gordon is a kid with a lot of talent. And in a running back room where he doesn't have to be the main guy with obviously Devon Achane, and you can
coming in,
give him some time to develop and get back to what he was the year prior where he was expected to be a first-round pick, I think he can be all right. I really do. Quinn Ewers?
Yeah, I was going to say shout out Quinn Ewers, falling to one of the most injury-prone and most concussed quarterback in the league at this point.
Outside of Cam Ward, I think he's in the best position as a rookie QB this year. I love Jackson Darby. He's fighting with 2 other guys that can start. What do you mean?
No.
What, like, positional wise? Yes. Like, what do you mean? Like, if this man gets thrown into a lineup with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Devon Achane sitting around him, are you kidding me? That's 399 speed sitting around him. Like, come on. All this man has to do is throw it up. He was good at Texas.
Are you saying best chance to start or best?
Like, best positional. Like, best,
yeah.
like
best surrounding.
Yeah, like that, and just the fact that he's sitting behind a guy like Tua Tagovailoa, where he gets hurt very often and is right on the brim of retiring. Like, this could be a fantastic spot for Quinn Ewers, bro. Like, I really believe it. He has time to sit back. He doesn't have to come in and be the main guy. He's not expected to be the starter, obviously. He has time to develop more, and he's in Miami, bro. Let's be real. Like, he's in Miami, Florida. He's gonna live his best life.
Absolutely.
I love the fit for Quinn, bro. Especially down in the 7th round. Wild. This was, I don't know.
6 and 7 bump it up. This is
mid.
Probably a C- draft for me.
C-? You're
I mean, they're late picks.
I do.
They're going to have to come in under hard circumstances outside of Ollie Gordon.
I'm gonna go C+. I think Ollie Gordon would be RB2, bro. Especially now for Raheem Mostert officially gone.
Absolutely.
All right. The Vikings. Wow. This is skip worthy. I don't even know if we need to talk about this. This is like an F. This sucks. This is god awful. I didn't know it was this bad. This sucks.
Tell me Donovan Jackson at 24 isn't the best player in the draft?
Bro, this might be like an F-. This is
You want Kobe King?
terrible. No.
The guy playing behind Abdul Carter?
No. Why? Yeah, what? Why? No. Did he even play? Why did he get drafted? Yeah, no, bro. I'm cool. I'm wholeheartedly cool. This is an F. I don't even need to discuss it.
Yeah.
This sucks, dude. Like, what's the point? You didn't do anything.
Absolutely.
You could have said, you could have took the weekend off and been fine. Yeah, sucks. Awful. Move on to New England.
A.
Plus.
A plus, yep.
A plus.
Yep. Will Campbell may be the best player in the draft after his interview. No, after his interviews,
That's crazy.
I'm going to fight and die for my... Have you seen his other interviews where he said, I'm a quarterback guy, just ask Jaden Daniels, ask Garrett Nussmeier.
You're not wrong.
He's a dog. That's the best guy you could have got for Drake May, outside of getting Travis Hunter somehow.
Right.
But beautiful pick. Travion Henderson falling to the second round. My favorite running back, obviously. I love Travion and Quickshawn.
Yeah.
I bet on both them boys a lot.
Yeah, fantastic.
They just got every need here.
Yeah, I mean, they nailed it.
Kobe Minor in the 7th round.
Yeah, they
Craig Woodson, they're just pieces.
killed this draft. I mean, they nailed every positional need. They got talent. They got... I mean, what didn't they get?
Again, this is one of my Madden draft classes.
Yeah, I think Travion will eventually be the starter in New England, especially if it's just Ramondre over there that he's got to fight with.
You're competing with Ramondre, who struggled last season.
Who got
replaced.
He did get
I was about to say.
for Antonio Gibson, just because he had so many fumbles and stuff. I think it's a great spot for Travion. I think he 100% will be the starter by the end of the year.
7.1 yards per carry last season.
I'm stashing him on my bench in a lot of fantasy leagues until he gets that starting role. 100%. But yeah, really good draft. Kyle Williams in the 3rd round, Craig Woodson in the 4th round. This was fantastic, bro. I love this draft. Easily A+. This might be the best technical draft of any team in the league.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Moves us on to a team you might care a little bit more about personally.
Yeah.
How are we feeling?
Not good. Rough. I talked to a lot of people after a couple of these picks. I don't even want to be a Saints fan anymore. I'm just not a fan, bro. I preached it, and I'll continue to say it. We've drafted O-line or D-line in the 1st round for the last 14 years. We have been in quarterback roulette.
I'm pretty sure it's like the last 50 years. Every NFL franchise has drafted a quarterback in the 1st round, except the New Orleans Saints.
Why? What are we doing? You're sitting at pick 9 in the 1st round with one singular quarterback off the board. You have Jackson Dart, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Quinn Ewers, whoever you wanted outside of
Jalen
Milroe. You had everybody on the board. And you take Kelvin Banks again. You just drafted Talise Fuego in the 1st round last year. You drafted Ryan Ramczyk in the 1st round 6 years ago. I mean,
we talked about this. This is the 9th pick.
You take Kelvin. I can't cuss. I don't want to cuss. Banks Jr. Bro, when I tell you, I was just speechless after this pick. And then you go out in round 2 with 2 quarterbacks taken off the board. It's Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart. Or not Shedeur, Cam Ward. You still have Shedeur Sanders on the board. You have Jalen Milroe, you got Quinn Ewers, you got Will Howard. I would have preferred absolutely anybody other than Tyler Shuff in the 2nd round. This dude wasn't in a single top 10 of my draft rankings. He wasn't in a single top 5 of anything to do with the Saints ever in any aspect at any point of last season. I didn't even know this dude existed until 2 hours before the draft because he was never in my mind at all. Ever. This man
is also a career backup.
Is a 25-year-old super senior with 3 season-ending injuries who started 1 playoff game 5 years ago and only started 26 college playoff games in 5 years.
It's a backup to Justin Herbert.
What did you see? What? You just brought in a quarterback coach. You didn't bring in a quarterback. You brought in a guy old enough to go out and coach the guy we have on roster right now.
Yep.
Spencer Rattler in the 5th round is a better quarterback than Tyler Shuff this year, who we took in the 5th round last year. I would have rather went out there and picked up and kept Jameis Winston and started him at quarterback. Why did you draft
If you're going to
Tyler
take Shuff, you could have ran Spencer Rattler back.
Dude, younger, better, more athletic, with way more upside. What was the point of taking a quarterback in the 2nd round if it was Tyler Shuff? I would rather you just took another offensive lineman. Go get another one. Who cares? Take 7 of them. Take 8 of them. I don't know who picks you. I take them all.
4th ranked quarterback.
4th is crazy. Might be the 40th.
Oh, Matt Miller's pro comp, Joe Flacco.
Oh, I'm so excited.
There you go.
Dude, I don't know. I can't complain
Derek
enough.
Carr missed 7 games last season to injury, too.
I can't complain enough. I can't scream enough. I can't cuss enough. I can't be mad enough. I don't know, dude.
Even right here, Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders is still on the board, and he's ranked higher than Shuck on my board. But consider the quarterback whom Saints coach Kellen Moore has worked with as an offensive coordinator: Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, and Jalen Hurts. Shuck has a similar ability to those players and is a better fit for Moore, who gets a talented rookie to mold
This man
at 25.
This man might not even make it through his rookie contract before he retires. And you talking about rookie to mold? You're going to mold this man into a coach is what you're going to do because he's Unk. The rookie is Unk in the QB room. Explain that. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm pissed. That's not a cuss word. I can say that. I'm pissed.
No, 100%. You know he's moving in with his 3 kids, his crutches. He probably got New Balances and long white socks.
I don't think I'll tune into a single specific Saints game next year. I might watch their touchdowns if they score ever on Red Zone, if we even have Red Zone. But I promise you, I won't watch a single. I don't care if it's Monday night. I don't care if it's Thursday night. I don't care if it's Sunday night. I don't give if we're in the Super Bowl. I will not watch a single Saints game next year. I don't care. I hate everything about the team.
If Shuck is leading your offense, I don't think Super Bowl is necessarily the word.
I'm just saying, I don't care if we even are there. Like, I don't care if we did get there. I don't care. I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I do know how to feel. I'm pissed, but it is what it is. You know, I'm not the coach or GM or anything for a reason, right?
What's the grade?
D-. And that's just being honest. It's not a good draft at all. Calvin Banks was the biggest name, and it was a position you didn't need.
Yep.
Not a fan.
The New York Giants.
I just want to mention that offensive tackle is not even in the top 5 means.
Yep, it was your number 1, the 9th overall pick in the draft.
What do I know? New York Giants. I like this draft way better than the Saints draft. A lot more. A whole lot more. Abdul Carter, fan.
Can't Scatterbo in the 4th.
Fire pick. Him and Tyrone Tracy in the backfield is going to be nasty. I love Scatterbo. Dude just has so much heart, bro.
Yeah. Runs like a truck.
Yeah. Your quarterback situation is confusing. I don't understand the point of signing Russell Wilson if you had plans to go draft a quarterback like Jackson Dart. Obviously, the Ole Miss connection in New York.
Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston.
Yeah, and Jameis. I don't know what you do with Dart. Obviously, he'll probably sit this year, progress, and learn from guys like Russ and Jameis. But I don't know. I guess taking a quarterback to sit for a year isn't the worst idea.
I think they had one of the best situations, being able to get the best player on defense. Abdul Carter, and then one of the best quarterbacks, depending on how the whole controversy plays out or whatever.
Right.
Got 25 and Jackson Dart.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good trade back up for them. They didn't have to spend the number 3 pick on a QB and still got the best defense player in the class. So, yeah, like you said, a nice little 1-2 punch in the first round. Cam Scatterbo was the best pick after that, though. A few curious picks in between, but not a bad overall draft for the Giants. I'll go with a B.
I was gonna say B plus.
Yeah, I think you did what you needed to do
with what they had.
Facts.
Oh, this is a confusing draft.
Yeah.
I do like Mason Taylor. You know, he's cool.
Doesn't matter real quick.
Dog.
Yeah. I think we all kind of expected the offensive line in the first round. You got to protect your newly acquired Justin Fields.
Another pick we mocked, by the way.
We sure did. Mason Taylor was a good pick, I like. Filled that tight end position. Obviously running with Tyler Conklin last year, probably not your best bet. I really like the Malachi Moore pick in the 4th round. I think he was one of the better safeties in college football last year. So really good value down at the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, 100%.
And outside of that, I mean, we kind of drafted some positional things. Backup edge and linebacker. C.J. Mosley starting to get a little older. It's not a bad pick for them. I don't hate it. A few key names, and like I said, just fill positional needs. I'll give this one a B plus.
This is like B minus. I feel like they just kind of did what they had to do.
Right. The Philadelphia Eagles, who have really been winners of drafts the last few years, especially last year.
Yeah, talk about a team that knows how to draft.
Yeah, they love their Georgia guys, and they continue that trend with Shmuel London in the 5th round.
Let's talk about them trading up one pick to get one of the best linebackers in the best linebacker out, again, if you're not counting Abdul Carter.
Right.
Jod Campbell at 31.
Jalen Walker. Don't forget about Jalen Walker.
It's Jalen Walker and Jod Campbell.
Yeah.
It's those two.
Yeah.
It's like one tied for one. 1-1.
No, they've been really good at drafting those front 4 guys the last few years. Obviously, like Nolan Carter and Jalen Carter, and obviously the steal. Who's Jordan Davis from Georgia also. Guys like that. Continuing to add on to that defense. It's the reason why it's still as good as it is. Won a Super Bowl last year, obviously. After that was a little hit or miss. I don't hate Andrew Makuba. Obviously, you lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson. You need someone to replace him. I like the Shmuel London pick. I like the Kyle McCord pick in a few different ways. I think he was decent for Syracuse last year. Obviously, had a run at Ohio State before that, where he had a really good year. Not bad, man. Not better than some of their drafts the last few years, but still not terrible.
I can give this one a B+.
I'll go with a B. Smooth old B. All right. Talk about my draft hitting close to home. Here we are. Your turn.
It's grown on me more. Obviously, I love the flashy picks more than going D-tackle.
Right.
As our first. Obviously, it's also not listed as one of our top needs, but what do I know?
Yeah, literally.
I mean, it's a good replacement piece. At 21, there was still a lot available, and that's kind of where my mental or personal bias beef comes from it. But Harmon's a good pick to fill in for Hayward with his age getting up there, and obviously those are steel curtain keeping its name. But obviously a beautiful, heart-wrenching story behind Derek Harmon, what he had to go through on draft night. I feel like he's going to bring out a lot of that passion to this team. Caleb Johnson in the 3rd. Obviously, we didn't have a 2nd-round pick, but Caleb Johnson is going to be an awesome addition. Now that we lost Najee Harris and are going to have to deal with him. And apparently, Jalen Warren, as things appear, Jack Warren, who there was a lot of hate on for whatever reason, but getting him in the 4th, I'm in love with.
Yeah, 100%.
Yaya Black, or it's something like that. It's like weird. Yeah, something like that. I mean, he's decent. Again, D-tackle.
Right.
Will Howard in the 6th round. I think he has QB1 potential. Obviously, we're still sitting here just waiting to see what Aaron Rodgers does.
Right.
But I think he could come in and start if we were to get an Aaron Rodgers.
And the QB room that he's in now, 100%. That QB room's awful.
He's competing with Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
And Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, obviously, my biggest confusion, I guess, is why you wait till the 6th round if we're right now just sitting and waiting on 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers to make his decision.
Right. I also am, I don't hate Will Howard. He's not the worst quarterback in the class, but I'm not a huge fan. I think that has a lot to do with just the fact that he had so much talent around him last year.
That's been all the hate.
I mean, but he did, though. When you look at it, he had probably 2 of the best running backs in the entire nation. He had probably the best receiver in college football last year, Jeremiah Smith. Mike Ibuka, who was a 1st-round pick. Gunnar Helm at tight end. I mean, he had targets, bro. He had a really good defense. Or not Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm was Georgia's tight end.
Yeah.
Who was Ohio State's tight end? He was a decent name. I don't remember now. But, I mean, he had a lot of
Jack Sawyer was on the Ohio State team.
Yeah.
Carson Bruner in the 7th. Like Dante Campbell will be a good little nickel type swap around depth player.
Right.
I really like it. It's just, again, the quarterback situation confuses me. Amir Khan or whatever comes out in the States. We go into the season with 4 quarterbacks. However, we acquire those next 2 quarterbacks, or however we do it. our quarterback room sits at Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson pre-draft. We come out with Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, and Skylar Thompson.
Yeah.
So we're still awaiting one at least, which I assume is, I'm sure a lot of people assume is Aaron Rodgers, is one of the higher remaining free agents, I guess you could say. But
yeah,
I mean, outside of the confusion, bias-wise, I really like it. B.
I think I'm gonna rock with you. I like a B. Kind of fits the mold. All right, that moves on to the Seahawks, where I don't hate. I'm not gonna hate. I think this was a decent class. It's not the best draft of everybody, but
I think being able to have Nick Manwari fall
in the second round,
snag.
Yeah, you snagged an O-line in the first round to kind of help protect newly acquired Sam Darnold, which is never a bad option. Elijah Arroyo was a decent tight end for Miami last year. Jalen Milroe is a fire pick. That might be their best pick of the draft. The guy that come in that can be behind Sam Darnold.
Probably the best quarterback on his feet in this class.
100%.
I think he has all the potential to come in and be this season's Michael Penix.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was more of like a downfall of Kirk Cousins and his situation, but I mean, we don't know if Sam Darnold is that guy. We were saying it all season for Minnesota. He had the team around him to hoist him up. Now your top receiver,
Cooper Kupp.
JSN
probably.
But, I mean, you got to figure it out. Now you're in a harder situation. I think Jalen Milroe may get that opportunity. And, I mean, obviously he's got to develop that accuracy and more reading the defense than just running the ball like he was prone to in college. But a lot of potential for Jalen Milroe. And I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah. I think it's a good position for him. I think he was one of those quarterbacks that needed to come in and take some time to learn and develop and craft his skill. Being able to sit behind, I guess I said that lightly because Sam Darnold isn't necessarily great, but being able to sit behind a quarterback with some experience will be good for him and he'll be able to learn as he goes.
It hurt me because obviously I was wanting Jalen Milroe to sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a season, learn and come in and be our opposition to Lamar Jackson and have a beautiful offense with Jalen Milroe, DK Metcalf, George Pickens. But, we're not there, so.
Yeah, not quite.
But, I mean, they really did what they had to do without being super flashy early. Obviously, you get one of the under-the-radar names in Gray Zabel in the first round, but then you snags almost the rest of the draft.
Right. I love Riley Mills. He was a guy last year that if he didn't get hurt during that college playoff run, he would have been such a huge piece to have in that national championship game to help stop the offense of Ohio State. Really good player at DT there. Torrey Horton was
I'm
a very
surprised
pick.
he fell into the fifth round.
Just due to that injury he's coming off of.
Yeah.
It's going to be a road back for him. And then Ricky White, UNLV in the 7th round, I think will be a very slept-on pick.
Damian Martinez.
Yeah, and Damian. I didn't even see that. That's a really good pick, too. Kind of stuck with a few Miami guys there. And Arroyo and Martinez. But yeah, I think this was better drafted. I initially thought. I think I'm going to give this a B+.
I like that.
I was going to go A-, but B+. I like that draft. All right, we go to the 49ers. Hey, we got a few teams left here. We're going to cruise through these really quickly.
I just want to mention, shout out, they took used Curtis Rourke in the 7th round.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they did what they had to do. Mikael Williams, one of the better edges in the draft, obviously. He's kind of went need.
Right.
Still getting a Jordan James later in the draft. I mean, not super flashy. He's kind of needs, I guess.
All I want to say is I'm not a fan of Jordan James for the simple fact that he quit on his team in the college playoffs.
Yeah.
So take that how you will, but not a good look for the guy. I'll tell you that much. Literally told him he wasn't going back out to play. Like, that's bad. I was kind of like that Devontae Campbell situation who happened to the 49ers nonetheless.
Yeah, gravy.
So, whatever, I guess. I'm not mad at it. Like you said, did what they needed to do, decent. For the 49ers, I'm going to give it a
C plus.
C plus, yeah, somewhere around there. I was going to say C plus, but I dropped it last second. Not mad at it. Okay, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now listen, I'm not like you. I'm not going to hate because it's a division rival. I'm going to give credit where credit's due. They nailed this draft, at least the first 2 rounds.
Oh, yeah.
100% nailed this. I also love their 7th round pick, and Tez Johnson was a fire value down there in the 7th round. Almost Mr. Irrelevant at that point. BK Buka. Fire. You put that man in a 3 wide receiver lineup with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, what do you do?
I was going to say after Chris Godwin went down with a season-ending injury last season.
Yeah. But who will, I think, be back this year at some point. That's going to be a nasty 3 wide receiver set. They're all really good. Baker Mayfield played some of the best football he's played in a long time last year. I think they have a chance to be really good, especially with the emergence of Bucky Irving and still Rashad White back there. They nailed that Emeka Egbuka pick, and then Benjamin Morrison in the 2nd round. He will be a starter for Tampa Bay. Like, easily. Their quarterback room is not that great, and to find that kind of value at cornerback late in the 2nd round was a steal.
Yeah, to have this kind of potential on a roster is crazy.
Yeah. This was a very little draft for them, only 6 picks, but 3 of those 6 they absolutely nailed, value-wise at least. Tez Johnson in the 7th round is just crazy to me. I think
it's an A.
A lot better than that.
I think it's an A.
I think so too. A is smooth. We finally reached the number 1 pick. Huh. I didn't know they took some of these guys. Wow. Okay. Tennessee Titans.
I really like this draft.
I do like this. I don't hate it. They have some good names in here. Cam Ward, obviously, the 101, their QB of the future over there in Tennessee, finally moving on from old draft slide girlfriend leaving Will Levis.
Yeah.
Oladejo in the 2nd round. Good edge piece. Kevin Winston is a steal in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Really good safety out of Penn State. Jameer Dyke is a good, decent receiver from Florida.
You get Gunnar Helm in the 4th. You come back for Alec Aomanor from Stanford.
Wild. And then to get Khalil Mullings. Listen. I was a huge fan of Donovan Edwards. I'm not the biggest fan of Khalil Mullings just for the fact that he stole all my Donovan Edwards anytime touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
The cover of college football. But he was good.
I want to mention he was also a linebacker before he switched to running back. I did mention, you're that key piece before the draft.
I did not know that.
So just a big body that just run dudes over.
He did do that, indeed. Nice piece for them to pair with Tony Pollard and God, why am I forgetting his name? Who's the other running back? Tyjae Spears.
Yeah.
Nice little 3rd, maybe 4th guy behind them. But yeah, this is a really good draft. Nailed all their positional needs and got some really good talent.
I think it's going to be another A.
Yeah, I think so. Especially with the QB of the future and Cam Ward. And we're going to close things out with the final team in alphabetical order in the Washington Commanders. Only 5 picks to their name. Didn't do a whole lot with them.
They made decent use. I think Josh Connerly's a good piece. Obviously, having Jaden Daniels, being able to have more agility and movement on the O-line is always great.
Right.
Especially a quarterback like that that's so versatile, able to break out of the pocket too, move around.
Right.
Trey Amos is a decent pick value-wise in the 2nd round. And that's obviously late picks that may not make an immediate impact.
Right. With those 5 picks, they attacked a few positional needs. Got another wide receiver, running back, late in the draft. I think I'm going to go... I'll give it a B minus.
Yeah. It wasn't horrible.
But yeah, Josh Connerly, decent pick though, so...
Just did what they could, I guess, with the picks they had.
Absolutely. So there are our official 32-team post-draft grades. Somewhat of a breakdown for most teams with most of their picks.
Absolutely.
This was a lot longer of a segment than I expected, so if you stuck out for any part of this, we appreciate it. Obviously a little later than usual, but we had some things we had to get through after missing last week.
Didn't expect it to be that long.
Yeah. But hey, it was a nice little segment, some things we can look back on maybe a couple years from now and see if we predicted anything crazy.
Everybody always talks about draft grades don't matter because you don't know until they hit the field.
Yeah.
Well, if there's anything you can say about the Travis and Jon show, looking back on our mocks and our history, it's that we're accurate.
Without a doubt. Speaking of that, make sure you tune in next week when we go back and compare our mock drafts to the official draft.
We're going to recap the mock draft to the official 2025 NFL draft that took place.
And we're going to show the world the knowledge we have.
Absolutely.
100%.
Probably one of the most correct mocks I've seen, but who am I to say anything, you know?
Toot our own horn or nothing, but, you know, we did our thing. But I think that was about everything we had planned for this week. Obviously, like I said, a little bit longer of a show, but we got through some things. And we had fun doing it, and that's all that matters. We hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. We're super excited to kick the weekend off and watch some sports. We got a decent little UFC fight night tomorrow and some other things going on this weekend. So should be some fun to be had.
Absolutely.
Some relaxation time to use wisely.
Absolutely. All here for it.
100%.
Glad you started enjoying your weekend with the Travis and Jon show. Glad you were any part of it. If you tuned in at any point, joined in. Obviously, we got through a bunch of fun topics tonight. Hope you tune in next week.
Absolutely. Make sure you go give our link tree in our bio here on Facebook a check. If you're ever on TikTok, head over to Facebook, which is our main source of social media where you'll find links and access just about everything we have to offer.
Absolutely.
Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. We hope to see you guys back here next week, Friday, live at 6 p.m. here on Facebook and TikTok. So, anything else? Just closing statements before we shut this down?
I don't believe so.
All right. Well, that means, as always,
It's been the Travis and Jon show
live
on Facebook Live
and
TikTok Live.
peace out, y'all. Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you for tuning in.